Hey guys, what's going on? This is Alex over here at My Freedom Smokes, and today we're going to be taking a look at the CERABIS 44 starter kit. Now, this kit itself is actually pretty decent once you kind of get it rolling. The button has really nice response to it. I would say maybe about a half a second to a second delay when you press and fire the button. Really easy to use readout, and like I said, just the buttons themselves are really nice and responsive. That's one thing I do really like about these, because some mods just really don't have that much of a responsive button, and it's kind of hard to tell if you're actually doing something or if it's just not recognizing it. The tank, that's a little bit more of a sticking point with me. I definitely prefer the mod over the tank, but we'll kind of go into that in just a minute. The tank itself, though, does get really good airflow, and the coils have some really good, it really does produce some good flavor. Now, inside the kit, you're going to get your trusty instruction manual, which for the tank, I had to refer to this thing about 3 times, so we'll get into that in a second. You're also going to get an extra coil right here. And you're also going to get some replacement glass, and I'm not going to try and dig it out, but you get a retractable micro USB cable with it too. So the mod itself is wattage and temperature controlled, and you can access that under your mod settings. You simply just click the button a few times and you can either put it on standby mode, which means that it'll still be on, but you can't fire it. If you click the button a few more times, it'll take you right back to the main menu screen. Right there, that way you have the option of vaping again. So it is really nice. Now the bone of contention, the tank. Most tanks, when you see them like that. Well, still didn't go in them, like that. So that's how most tanks look. So when I assembled this, I put it all together, made sure everything was good and tight and sealed like this, but you can't get anything out of it. As I was changing out the coil and really taking a better look at it, I saw there was this airflow that was actually sitting underneath in this little black part here. So what I tried doing is holding that part out, screwing the tank to it to see, maybe if it was just defective or something. And when I got it up like that, it wanted to wobble everywhere and it wouldn't fire. So I had to refer back to this instruction manual a few times to realize that essentially, if you just really force it all together and tighten it like crazy, in the end, you can pull it up and have access to your airflow. So for me personally, this is a little bit of a hindrance. Not recommended for people starting out, because this is very, very different than almost any mod I have seen. I've yet to see a tank where you have to pull it out in order to get to your airflow. Now, that may sound like a first world problem and, something that really shouldn't be worried about, but in a market like this where you want immediate gratification for vaping, adding a little something like this in here without making it expressly known that that's going to be a feature, to me it's just a little bit irresponsible, because even I, for someone that's been vaping a little over 4 years now, it still took me a few hours to realize it does this. So I would say if you're interested in this mod, make sure and be aware of that. It does definitely have some benefits, because when you lift it up and close it, make sure and look at your juice holes inside the tank. When we shut it, it does close it off. So that is one good thing. If you're going to be putting this tank with your whole mod in your pocket and you are prone to leaking, pushing it down does cut off the juice flow and it does prevent it from leaking. So that is a good thing about it. And like I said, the coil itself really does perform well. I can't take away anything from that. The tank itself does perform well. Unfortunately, the way they decided to design this tank really has some sticking points with me, no pun intended. So all in all, I do like this mod. I like the mod for the battery itself. I'm not a big fan of the tank, only because, in my opinion, if you give something like this too many moving parts, it's gonna break. That's just what happens. So I like tanks that are a little bit more easier to use, don't have so many moving parts. That way it cuts down on so much leaking and possible issues that you as a customer may run into. So out of 10, I would have to give this a solid 7. The mod itself really bumped up the price on, the number on that simply because I am a fan of a nice, small, compact mod. The battery life is really good, especially if you're running, maybe a 0.5 or a 1.2 coil. It really will last a good while, but when you start going into the temperature control mode and start running at higher wattages, of course you're pulling way more power, so this is going to deplete the battery a little faster. But all in all, the battery itself is a really good unit. The tank is good once you get used to it. I've not used it long enough to have a 100% final verdict on it, but for me personally, trying it out for the past few days, I just find it a little bit confusing as to why they decided to make it like that. A lot of mods just have it to where you can twist it and the juice flow will be cut in and off from the coil. So why they didn't decide just to go with something like that beats me. But I'm not here to design the products, I'm here just to talk about them. So I'm gonna quit worrying about it. Again, I give this a solid 7 out of 10. I would recommend it for advanced vapors or someone a little bit more intermediate that actually watched this video. So if you do have any other questions about the product, feel free to give us a call, shoot us an email, and follow us on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages. We always make sure and post stuff about the upcoming regulations with the FDA and such, and just fun little memes and posts. So make sure and follow us on there. We love chatting with our customers. So until next time, thank you for vaping.